This is part 2 to the Elisa Izquierdo story. This ruling awarded her custody of her child every second weekend. Reportedly, Alwilda's 2 older children informed relatives that throughout these unsupervised visitations, Elisa would be beaten and neglected by her mother and stepfather. These relatives did not inform authorities of these revelations. Both Elisa's father and her teachers noted the child bearing bruises and other signs of physical mistreatment when she returned from these unsupervised visits. One of those locations of her injuries was Elisa's private areas, and the child did divulge that her mother had repeatedly hit her and locked her in a closet, adding that she had no desire to see her mother. Elisa's father also noted that she began bedwetting in addition to losing control of her bowels and would regularly experience nightmares upon learning that she was in custody of her mother for even the shortest period of time. Another family acquaintance noted that Elisa would always vomit upon her return from these visits from her mother and refuse to enter the bathroom. Both Gustavo and Elisa and teachers did inform the authorities of the abuse she was enduring at the hands of her mother and stepfather. These revelations were also disclosed by Elisa herself to a social worker. Her father did apply in 1992 to have Alwilda's visitation ceased. However, the court ruled that the visitation rights could continue, albeit with the condition that Alwilda must not strike, otherwise harm her daughter. In 1993, Gustavo formed plans to relocate with Elsa to Cuba. He started his traveling plans in May 1994. He was admitted to the hospital with acute respiratory complications. He was eventually diagnosed with lung cancer. Gustavo would pass on May 26, 1994, the same day he had plans to travel to Cuba with his daughter. Elisa shortly asked her mother where her father was, and she just screamed at her, saying that he was deceased. Elsa's school director contacted family court to express the grave concerns of both herself and numerous members of the school staff as to the child's safety, and mother regained custody of her daughter. Alwilda was initially awarded temporary custody of her child. Upon hearing the initial awarding of Elisa's temporary custody to Alwilda, Elsa, the cousin of Gustavo and Elisa, challenged the ruling herself, applied for the custody of Elisa, citing the documented abuse of Elisa had previously endured during these unsupervised visits with her mother. Lacking sufficient funding to pay for legal fees, Elsa attended these court hearings without legal representation. Unlike Alwilda, hired a lawyer from the Legal Aid Society federally funded parenting program. At the end, the judge approved Alwilda to obtain permanent custody of Elisa on September 1994. Now follow me for part 3 of the Elisa Izquierdo story.